Hey, what's up, guys? A lot of things to talk about in this video. First of all, is my name change. If you notice, I went back to Mole Gamer Tag. Just really like it a lot more. Kind of suits me. Horcrux is too confused with Harry Potter. I get messages all the time about Harry Potter reference, and I kind of got tired of it, really. So I changed this on my Xbox and also my YouTube as well. So if you see a Lockerdo instead, you just know it's Horcrux. Okay, so this is the new meta Sorcerer build. This is, of course, in relation to the PTR changes. You know, what's going on in the PTR right now. I mean, we're just gonna hop right into it. I want to explain what's going on. I mean, you can tell by my character sheet probably what one of the sets is I'm running. If you guess Amber Plasm, you are correct. Love that shit. It's never gonna leave my Sorcerer. The other set, however, is kind of a oddball. Blob kind of mentioned a couple of his videos. I just kind of want to beat him to the punch here on this one. If you've read a lot of the PTR notes, you've noticed they've changed all the traits. The Mundus's nerf sharpen and defending into the ground, leaving more viable theory crafting options available. So that's exactly what I did, and in my opinion, this shit needs nerfed real quick. They've they're going in the right direction. They're fixing a lot of shit they should have fixed long ago, including the proc sets. But they've indirectly just broken another portion of the game, and I'm gonna show you that right now. Okay, so here's the stats. Unbuffed. This will be higher when the PTR drops. I'll explain more to you about that. All right, here we go. So we know we're running Amber Plasm. So what's the other set? We are running Torog's Pact. Yeah, Torog's Pact. So let me break down the math here for you. I was gonna do a little bit of subtitles, but I'm sure you guys can follow along. Okay, so doing 5 Amber Plasm, 1 Kina, 5 Torog's Pact. The Inferno Staff, we are putting a Daedric enchantment on our Inferno Staff, and you're going to alternate that between this enchantment. This build's going to be primarily for duels and small BGs. Since everyone's a fucking vampire, this enchantment is just too good to pass up. As of right now, these are the damage numbers, but this is not true for the PTR. The PTR, these are going to be higher. They've changed the infused trait. Instead of the 20% you see here, this will now be 30%. Yes, they did nerf the Oblivion damage enchant by 6%. So essentially, the number you see here, the 3793, upgrade that by 4%, and that will be the new damage value for the Oblivion damage enchantment. So where's this damage coming from? Okay, so you can see the character sheet. It doesn't look too bad. I mean, it's not horrendous. You've seen from other build videos how you sustain. And that's for, Dark Conversion have such a high stamina pool and stamina regen. But this build is kind of you need to know the inner workings of the game, right? Okay, so there's 2 different types of buffs and damage, 2 different types of weapon enchants, right? So you can either have the ones who deal damage, or you can have the ones who give you a buff. Okay, so just know the internal cooldown on buff enchantments is 10 seconds, and know the internal cooldown on damaging enchantments is 4 seconds. So with all that being said, let's look at our back bar here. This will inevitably be 13% higher when the PTR drops. I've already done the math. This will be around 610 spell power because we're rocking the infused trait on it. So let me show you for example. You see the weapon buff down at the bottom? Now watch as soon as it expires. 100% uptime on this buff. So, when you're between bars, this is your spell damage. 100%. I mean, this is pretty much like a burning spell weave proc. Like 100% of the time, always up on your back bar. Okay, so you're probably like, all right. So you have less spell pin. Well, I mean, you can adjust accordingly in your champion points, right? If you're in BGs, yeah, whatever. Okay, so you can't toss in what is 2750, I don't know, is how much the sharpened value gives you. That only equates to about 4%, almost 5% of overall damage anyway, but that's not how this set does its horrendous damage. Yeah, this is a pretty good buff. I mean, look at that, 3,400. And plus, when the PTR actually does drop, instead of the Serpent Mundus, we are going to be running the Apprentice, because they've changed everything to where it's going to be like a flat 263. You know, that goes for Atro. They changed the mage to, I think, 2082 max or something. So, you know, when all this is said and done, procced, remember we're going to be adding, it's going to be, what, 81 extra spell damage to this, because it's already done the math. This is going to be 610 when the patch actually does drop and everything golded out. So there's 81 spell damage there, and in addition, we'll be adding 263. So we're just going to try to keep it simple. It's going to be 364, I don't know. We'll just say 364 extra spell damage on top of what we have now. Right, so let me go ahead and fully buff up. Our new value will be at or around 4k spell damage for this build. You know, just the way everything stacks. That is fucking retarded. So you're gonna be able to push, you know, with these stats, almost 4k spell damage. You're gonna have well over, you know, 1,000 stamina recovery. This is not being a vampire, by the way. You could definitely use a vampire. And, you know, 39k max. Okay, so let me show you how this does. Okay, so there is a bug right now that they've addressed in the patch notes about the Daedric enchantment on infused weapons. So when you do the math, right, on the infused weapons, so for the damage enchants, you know, you the 4-second internal cooldown. The way this works is, okay, so we're running infuse, so it's going to reduce the enchantment's effect by, it says 40% right now, just because this is not, you know, live. In the patch notes, this will actually be 50%. So that 4-second internal cooldown will now be reduced to 2 seconds. Okay? And then in addition to that, the Torux Pact 5-piece. Okay, yeah, it increases, you know, blah, 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 30%. But it decreases the cooldown on your enchantments proc by 1 second. The way the system recognizes it, okay, so here's the way it prioritizes it. It does any multiplicative values first, as in, you know, percentages and such. So automatically it's going to reduce the cooldown, you know, down to 2 seconds. And then it's going to factor in this 1 second as a flat value. So whatever, you know, it's going to be exactly, in this case, it works out to where the math is, you know, whole numbers. So it's going to be 2 seconds, and then it's just going to minus the 1 second on top of that. So what does that mean? That means you're proccing. Okay, so it says it crits. That's also another bug. It actually doesn't crit. It's the 2964 value is the value for the Daedric enchantment. In OBGs, I think that drops down to 2100. You know, correct me if I'm wrong. But you guys can see how much damage that is going to be. You're essentially... This goes through the shields. The 2964 goes through the shields. So if this target's sitting there, shield stacking. Every 1 second, every weave that you're doing, you're going to be hitting them with irresistible Daedric damage, and it's just going to be absolutely devastating. I was assessing this on my buddy Jugs earlier, and he's not 100, you know, 650 CP, but I mean he's damn near close to it, and he was shield stacking the whole time. And if you're weaving, this applies so much pressure that you just can't get out from underneath it. That was without, you know, that's with the bug, because the infused trait's not working right now for the Daedric enchantment. Like I said, they addressed it in the patch notes. So when that finally gets fixed, staff builds are just going to devastate everyone if you just run the setup. 5 Torogs and what the fuck ever you want to run for the other 5Es. I prefer Amber Plasm. And it to be honest, it needs addressed, right? I mean, and then plus, in addition, I mean, you can have 610 extra spell damage just by a light attack on your back bar. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be just absolutely overpowered. To be honest, you know, where I'm a Sorc main, you know, I hope they don't do anything about it for a little while, you know, because Magicka builds do need like a god mode period. But this is just to go over that little aspect in particular. Let me know what you guys think. I've done the math. I've done all the testing. It's what I've said is true. Okay, so like I said, you have 100% uptime on this 610 spell power buff. Right? You don't need sharpened. You don't need defending. I mean, look at my stats right now. I mean, this is with a little bit of CP. I mean, spell resistance is 16k. I only have like 2k in my champion points for spell resistance. Physical resistance, not really too worried about that. This works shit on pretty much any stam class anyway, especially when you're running a shit ton of stam recov. You're just, I mean, point being, this is absolutely broken, and I just want to be one of the first to point this out. When the patch does hit, you're going to see me running this, and I'm going to make all kinds of videos about it. You know, gameplay like duels and show exactly how much damage, a pressure you can apply with this. It's absolutely overpowered. This would go well for sorcerers and mage blades. I think would be the best to run this on. Wardens not so much. Templars maybe. I mean, I've never really played a Templar, but this build is light attack intensive. So if you're constantly weaving, you're gonna be constantly proccing this Daedric enchantment. Maybe the Magicka staff builds. There's a few of them out there that's got some pretty good builds, but the whole point of this build revolves around this Daedric enchantment and using it to its absolute max potential. And like I said, this will be 4% higher than what it is now. So I mean that's pretty much the build video, guys. I know it wasn't flashy, but I just wanted to point out these changes the devs are making, and like I said, they've indirectly buffed the shit out of staff classes. If people realize to use this enchantment and use it correctly, I'll just go over the Torox pack just so you guys can see, to look it up whatever later. And same thing goes for I also made a staff with the prismatic enchantment. The deals a 10,000 whatever to Daedra. This is going to go up by another 13% because of the PTR patch notes. Instead of the 20% gold level, it's going to be 30%. So, and this can crit, by the way. So, to keep that in mind. So, if you're ever in a duel, or like I said, you go into BGs, just put this enchantment on your weapons. You are going to just maul over people. And, I mean, this shit will proc, like, every second. I mean, that's no joke. This will be, I mean, if it crits, that's another 15,000 weave on, every light attack weave, and it's pretty retarded. One thing to note is if you do light attack weave, you do kind of like get your light attack in before the 1 second, like just before. So what you want to get in the habit of doing, if you are running this build, you want a medium attack weave, which I don't like doing, but it's just enough time to reach that 1 second to where you pretty much have 100% uptime on your Daedric enchantment. I was testing this on jugs. This hits really hard. This hits for 7k, I think, crits. Which is about what you would expect in PvP environment. Everything's pretty much halving almost. So there's the build, guys. Tell me I'm stupid. Tell me my math is wrong. Whatever. I really appreciate if you could sub to the channel. I'm actually trying to get this channel good and going. I'm probably going to do a giveaway at 100 subscribers just because it's awesome. This YouTube channel is pretty early in the making. I don't want donations from you guys. I'm not going to be asking for that. I just want to get this channel going and actually provide some really good ESO PvP content. This game has a lot of potential, and I just think that more people, less toxic people need to be introduced into this game. I'm also going to be streaming some Overwatch later. I'm trying to get my Smurf up to top 500. Try to bring Jugs with me. We'll see how that goes. Let me know what you guys like, what other kind of content you like to see. Like I said, I mainly do Overwatch and ESO, but I'm sure I could do other games as well. So just let me know in the comments or message me or whatever. In closing, I guess I would just go with champion points a little bit. If you was going to run champion points, that is. I have a shit ton of spell erosion just to make up for the lack of the sharpen enchantment. The rest is pretty standard. A critical 19%. 11%. Elite Expert Master at Arms, 20%. None in that tree. I do have some in the Spell Shield to kind of make up for the lack of the defending trait. I got 51 points into Ironclad. These 3 points are, well, not really wasted, but they're just value points. The reason I have 37, 27 in here is because the damage reduced, this applies to your shield. So you kind of want a lot of points in here, as much as you can spare. Bastion is just at 61%. You know, like I said before, the system rounds down, so any excess points you have over the nearest whole number is just wasted. 44 points in the Warlord. 43 in Arcanist. Mooncalf, a little bit of stamina recovery. These 2 points are wasted, sadly. There's nowhere to put them. 51 points into reduced block and 51 points into dumbly. I break free, roll dodge, block a lot. So just kind of put these in there to suit your playstyle. Nothing fancy, pretty standard Sorc setup. I just wanted to bring this build to you guys' attention. You know, Lockhart said it first. So when this gets nerfed, it has to. It just absolutely has to. It's inevitable. But just enjoy this build when the patch does drop. I'm not sure when it does drop. But like I said, just have you set this shit ready. And just go crazy with it, guys. All right, have fun with it until it gets nerfed. Kind of like Vicious Death was, and all these proc stats. But all right, guys, that about does it for me. Thanks, and see ya.